bunch of questions from social media, Twitter, and Facebook right after the game on Saturday. So I thought we'd take this opportunity to focus on the team that play in the field, a little Connor Stallions and that talk as well. Took questions from Michigan fans, doing a little bit of the opposing team's fans as well. I think you'll be really interested to see some of my answers on today's show. First question coming in or reply to Twitter comes in from Mike Trainer. He says, I've never been more pissed off about a garbage time touchdown. I totally agree with you, Mike. Listen, I think Michigan's given up, I'm not even joking, 30% of their points this year in garbage time. Early on in the season, the UNLVs, Bowling Greens, et cetera, of the world. In this game against Purdue, the last touchdown, the last couple minutes of the game, Michigan didn't cover. I lost big-time cash. Nevertheless, Mike Trainer, I don't know if I've never been more pissed off. I've certainly been more pissed off about other touchdowns, clearly. But in a blowout game, this certainly one hurt a little bit. But, guys, with everything that's going on with Jim Harbaugh right now, the Connor Stallion saga, the Big Ten coming down on Michigan, what might happen in the legal process, how are you feeling about the future of Michigan football? Give me a grade down there. Scale of 1 to 10. 1, you are down in the dumps. My guy on Twitter, he goes by Minion. It's College Sports TV, I think is his name. This guy is getting so down in the dumps. I know you're watching right now, so I'm giving you a shout out. You got to perk up a little bit, all right? Perk up. Everything's not over right now. He's feeling 1. Number 10, 10 is probably something a little too optimistic. But 1 through 10, let me know where you guys stand here on Michigan football in the future, past this season, let's just say, and how you're thinking things are going to go after the 2023 college football season. Michigan beat Purdue, as we all know, 41-13. But I think the big story of the game was Roman Wilson in a lot of ways, and the connection that him and J.J. McCarthy do and continue to have. The thing to kind of keep an eye on just to talk about here in the scoreboard that we're going to talk about here with some of the instant reaction, social commentary, is 41-13. It's a 28-point difference. The point spread was 33.5. The first half point spread was 20.5. Michigan was this close to giving up one score here, one score at the end to covering both of them. I lost money on the half. I lost money on the game. Luckily, I didn't know how to bet big money because in Texas, you can't go to a casino and just put down thousands and thousands of dollars or anything like that. So I didn't get to waste more money, but I definitely lost some on this game. And the haters came in, all right? Shark4 on Twitter says 63-0. Oh no, that was my prediction. 63-0. Look, in life, if you make predictions, if you put your opinions out there, you're gonna be wrong plenty of times. I think a lot of people who come and take shots at you when you get predictions wrong are the people who never put their own name on things. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here from Shark4. How about beat Sparty 9-0 an Ohio State guy? He says Connor quitting caused y'all not to cover, JY. James Yoder, fire Harbaugh. Yeah, I guess. But Michigan really wasn't covering the spread at that high of a level this season so far, right? I think after 9 games now, they're 4-5 versus the spread, regardless of Connor Stallion. So, okay, big deal. But Michigan did lose me money. And I've actually lost, I think I bet the first 3 games this year, Jack, and I took 3 or 4 games off, put money again on them tonight with Purdue. So I am 0-5 or 0-6 on my Michigan bets all in this season. Maybe I have 1 win in there, but it's not been a good run for me with Michigan football and the Yoder pocketbook. Sean coming in, another Ohio State fan. The Hurricane, he says, let's check out the Buckeyes did at West Lafayette, right? They went to Purdue. So a little comparison, compare and contrast. Travion Henderson was out, yada, yada. They gave up a few points. Welcome back to Earth, Michigan, is basically what he's saying. So Ohio State played Purdue 3 weeks ago, October 14th. They won 41-7. But Ohio State was one of these games where you go back where it was closer than it should have been early on, and Ohio State always does this. They're cheap yards, they're cheap points. They will score 15, 20, 21 points in the fourth quarter. Their quarterbacks will put up numbers. Their running backs will put up numbers where Michigan will put in backups. It's just different styles of coaching. But as always, I think I just want to make sure you guys are with me on this. It's beat Ohio State again. If you're going to look at common opponents, Rutgers and Indiana, and of course now Purdue, and then next week Penn State, this week Penn State, and then next week Maryland. I think by the time we get to Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan is going to look a lot better with common opponents than Ohio State is. They're going to take a lap because Michigan gave up a last-second touchdown. Both teams gave up 41 points, scored 41 points. Michigan with the last-second touchdown, or the scores would have been almost identical. But beat Ohio State again. Comment it down below. Make sure that we don't forget. The goal here, as always, beat Ohio State again. Then you go on to greater things. Big Ten Championship, College Football Playoff. Give me a Bosa down in the comments if you're with me on this last 3 seasons where I tell you, this is one of the great political campaign slogans of all time. Coming from our Facebook account, facebook.com/HarbaughGoBlue. I'll put the link down in the comments and description. You should join 70,000 Michigan football fans strong that follow our Facebook page. He says, from a coaching point of view, I'd say clean up the drop passes, make sure JJ touches touches the passes, and it was a little struggle, but no biggie. I think the thing about JJ in this game, he had these 335 yards, but for me, it just seemed like when I looked at the box score at halftime and saw he had 201 yards, I'm like, gosh, where did those come from? And they must have all come in the first quarter because he didn't have a huge second quarter. And then plays come down, plays pass here, 25 yards, 40 yards here, there. But it didn't feel like to me that JJ looked as smooth as he has this entire season. And even though he didn't have the interceptions like he did against Bowling Green, that was a night game against PG. This was a night game. The games kind of felt a little similar as far as JJ's performance play. Pass behind guys, a few passes over the top ahead guys, and the stats came out tonight, and the Saturday night looking strong, right? 335 yards, his best game in the regular season from a passing yards perspective, but it didn't feel like the JJ that was dominating, that was a Heisman Trophy frontrunner or high-up candidate. And I think he's going to have the opportunity to, overcome that coming up here against Penn State on Saturday. But I do guys want to tell you guys about Prize Picks, our sponsor. Go over to prizepicks.com/CLNS, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Get a $100 deposit match when you use promo code CLNS. I want to tell you about the Prize Picks that I've got going for Monday Night Football tonight. I've got Zach Wilson, the quarterback of the Jets, less than 213.5 yards. Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the Chargers, less than 245.5 yards. And Garrett Wilson, right? A guy I've got on my fantasy team. He's a scumbag from Ohio State. That's okay. But I've got him going more than 5 catches tonight. And that's how simple it is with Prize Picks. I just pick less or more on the stats that Prize Picks puts in front of me. And if I get those picks right, I win big time. You can go up to 25 times your money. But make sure you get a $100 deposit match, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Link is down in the comments and the description of today's video. Also want to tell you about the reboot policy from Prize Picks. If you have an entry that gets in the game in the first half, gets injured, doesn't return to the second half, your entry does not just go by the wayside. That player is removed. The rest of your entry is still in play. For football and basketball game, Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. And that's why I love it. It's super easy to play. I play about 4 or 5 days a week right now, Monday night, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Put my Prize Picks in every time. It takes me like 60 seconds or less to make those picks. It's super awesome. I'm not a big-time fantasy sports player, daily fantasy guy. Prize Picks has changed all that. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for your deposit match. Next one coming in from Jesse Moeller on our Facebook page. He says, choo, choo, right? The Boilermakers, the train Michigan ran on Purdue, and boo-hoo, that's Ryan Walters still crying. Funny comment. Really like this one from Jesse from our Facebook page, right? Purdue's coach, he talked a lot of trash this week. He's like, oh, well, it's not allegations. It's not allegations. We've got facts. These guys ran our game, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what's the excuse now, pal? You took over a team, right? Ryan Walters, you 37-year-old trash talker. You took over a team just 10 months ago that was in the Big Ten championship game, that played with Michigan in the first half, and you've turned them into an absolute joke, a 2-7 program. How about you do a little bit less talking, right? And do a little bit more coaching, right? Preparing your team, because you're turning a program that's been competitive in the Big Ten for generations to an absolute joke, and you're only 9 games into your time as Purdue's head coach. Maybe doing a little less trash talking, a little more coaching would help Ryan Walters with his career. Choo-choo! I don't think so. That's the Michigan train running all over that Purdue ass. Sam Strupa, thank you so much for the tweet, Sam. Appreciate you following me on Twitter. They're preparing for Penn State. They struggled, and even when they struggled, they still won 41-3. I think that's a good way to think about this game is Michigan didn't look excellent in every phase of the game. I think the defense looked better than the offense at times. The offense came out very strong in the first quarter, and then at times late third quarter, et cetera, into the fourth before JJ and the team came out. But there's some good things to take away. I think the downfield passing game at times was strong, despite JJ missing a few passes. And now Michigan's going to look at this Penn State game, right? Happening 5 days from now, the Wolverines are a 6.5-point favorite heading in to Happy Valley on what should be a top 10 team when the college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow. So I'm feeling good. I think Michigan's going to get the win on Saturday. But let me know what you guys think. Predict the score, Michigan at Penn State. I'm not ready to make a prediction yet. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair for Michigan because I do think this Penn State defense is strong. They've got first-round talent on the defensive line. They've got first-round talent in the secondary, cornerback, and on offense, they've got a top 5 or so talent at the offensive line. So I don't think this is going to be just a Michigan blow-up by any means, but I'm probably feeling somewhere along the lines of like 27-14 or something like that. Michigan going to win. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. David Barnwell from the Facebook page says, JJ didn't look sharp. I think I echoed this statement as well, that like the Bowling Green game, he wasn't dominating in a suffocating win. His mediocre game seemed to be as good as any QB in the nation. And that's a good way to take away, right? If you look at Michael Penix on Saturday night, if you look at Jaden Daniels, who lost to Alabama, the LSU quarterback, or even other players that are all-conference or all-American level QBs this year, right? J.J. McCarthy's worst games this season are right up there with some of people's best games. Penix scored 52 points, yet McCarthy, even though he didn't get any touchdowns, really, I think, outplayed Penix in what was a mediocre game for McCarthy. So I still think JJ's right up at the top of the Heisman Trophy race, and we're going to see how things play out. Penn State on the road is going to be a big push to get McCarthy right at the top. Going to change the minds of the haters and the doubters out there who are questioning his stats, and then Maryland, and you can win that thing against Ohio State on November 25th. Next one, Duke Barth. The O-line is not blocking good enough to run the ball consistently. I know teams are selling out to stop the run, but when you see linemen stop blocking in one, and we get a small gain, it isn't enough. This is spot on. Right? This is the biggest thing the team needs to focus on to improve right now. You go from the ground raid offense in 2021 to a good mix of ground raid plus passing excellence in 2022. But Blake Corum had one game this year and 9 games over 100 yards, and he's getting touchdowns left and right. What, 15 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns right now on the year? But 44 yards rushing, right? Less than 3 yards a carry. You're long of 9. And think about Diamond Edwards. What'd he do? 21 rushing yards for Diamond Edwards? He got a few catches, 41 yards catching. They put him in there for a game for 1 touchdown run. But this is not the kind of offense I think that is going to beat Ohio State. And that's the challenge I have is I don't want Michigan to try and go and shoot out with Ohio State. Despite the fact that I think Michigan has a better passing offense than Ohio State at this point, they tried to do that in 2019 and maybe even 2018, right? Speed and space and go with Shea Patterson to outduel Dwayne Haskins, etc. It didn't work out. Michigan, when they were dominant on the ground in basically all the 2021 game and then the second half of 2022, they got the win. They kept Ohio State's offense off the field. Not saying they have to change their offense right now. J.J. McCarthy is clearly one of the best 1 or 2 quarterbacks in all of college football, but you are going to have to prove that you can gain yards, gain chunks of yards. There have just been no big runs. The biggest runs against Purdue, freshman Samaj Morgan, 44 yards. Cornelius Johnson on the end around, right? That is kind of just a tough pill to swallow. That Blake Corum, all 16 of his touchdowns have been within 5 yards. He has no long touchdowns. Diamond Edwards has no long touchdowns. Both of his touchdowns this year have been within 2 yards. This offensive line is not getting pushed. The holes aren't opening like they have in the past. And if anything is going to stop this team from winning a national title, it might just be that. 6-aller, maybe that's with the 6. He's trying to say he's a baller. I'm not sure. He says Michigan players need to watch their back. There will be a lot of late and dirty hits the rest of the season. We saw it on one play, right? Early in the game, my second quarter. J.J. McCarthy stepped up in the pocket, threw the ball, stepping away somewhere, takes a hit, right? And then the Michigan player who has the ball, he's trying to get an extra yard. Another Purdue player hits him, and the other guy just kind of suplexes him. They get 2 personal foul penalties on one damn play, and the refs need to do something about it because these coaches are probably putting in their opponents' ears that, hey, these Michigan players are cheating. Take them out. Hurt them. James McCarthy, watch your back, I think is a very apt statement that certain teams and certain programs will be out for blood, and they don't care if they get a penalty if they can, prove that Michigan was cheating and give Michigan a lesson that they need to learn by injuring one of the Michigan football players. If you guys support this program, you want more programs from us, right? More YouTube shows, and I want us to bring back some live shows in the month of November. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. As always, send the link to friends, send the link to family, other Michigan friends, and family that love the program as much as you do, so we can grow this show to the biggest heights that we can and ride this bad boy all the way to Houston. Brent, first name, a lot of numbers. Not hating on you, Brent, but just kind of saw the username. What's Purdue's excuse? Good question. Where you at, Purdue's head coach? We've got evidence. What's your excuse? What is your excuse for turning Purdue into a laughingstock program? What was Michigan State's excuse? 49-0. No Connor Stallions there, pal. Health and safety, my foot. What's Ohio State's excuse going to be in less than 3 weeks? We're going to see because they are just chirping. They're not going to have much to chirp about when Michigan drops a 50-burger on the Buckeyes. Jim Harbaugh is going to go for 2 when Michigan scores their last touchdown in that game against Ohio State. They're going to ask him, Jim, why did you go for 2 at the end of the game? What was the point of going for 2 against Ohio State? And Harbaugh is going to return with, because I couldn't go for 3. Question coming in, comment, oh gosh, Jack, what are we doing with these Ohio State people? Who puts these on the show? My reaction is that Penn State is going to dog walk the Wolverines next week, and Ohio State will finish it off as Michigan goes 10-2 with their best team ever. This guy just makes it very obvious. He doesn't know ball, right? If you watch Michigan this entire season, you watch Ohio State, you watch Penn State. Now, Michigan could lose one of these 2 games. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not saying it's possible. They could lose a game. All right, let's not get crazy. We've all followed Michigan for years. Going undefeated in back-to-back years or 1 loss or less in 3 straight years. That's just crazy to even comprehend. Because Michigan's historically been a 10-2 or 9-3 program, right? That's what's up there. Very rarely bad program. Very rarely top 2, top 3. Okay, take a step back. This guy doesn't know ball at all, because if you watch Michigan and you think anything you've seen on the field this year makes you think that Penn State or Ohio State is just going to dog walk, right? Just blow out, just crush, just absolutely embarrass Michigan, then you just don't know football. You don't know ball, and it's clear you don't watch Michigan play at all. This entire season so far. Guys, tomorrow we will be live at about, 6:30 Eastern time. The college football playoff will go live about 30 minutes prior to the rankings reveal, the top 25. We had the guys from Chat Sports do it last week. Join us at 6:30 Eastern. Make sure you subscribe. We'll have live Q&A, have some Harbaugh news and rumors. So you want to stick around for that. Might get to it before the top 25 or after, but join us. Michigan, maybe they jump number 1. I doubt it. Maybe they jump Ohio State, though, and they could be from 3 up to number 2. We'll be back tomorrow on YouTube Live, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Join us then. So I see you guys tomorrow. Go Blue.